Welcome, Emily, to
Thank you.
the season two of From Scraps to Yaps podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited for today. I'm so
Thank you
excited
for
to have a chat with you.
coming. I'm so excited
No.
to have you. And I love that we've been in touch since like last year, and now this is
Yes,
coming together after I feel like it's
I
been a whole
know.
year almost, maybe just short
Literally.
of. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's really nice to get it together, and now we have you on season two. And I
Yeah.
like that with this season, I could be a little bit more creative because I understand what to
Mhm.
do with the podcast. So it'll be a really
Yeah.
fun recording
Mhm.
session.
Yes, no, I'm so excited. Let's jump into it.
Yeah. Well, to start off with, how would you describe yourself and where does Where Monsters Hide fit in your journey?
I'm such a coastal cowgirl.
Yeah.
I'm born and raised farm girl and then lived by the coast. So where Monsters Hide was like really like born on the back of a horse because I used to
Wow.
just go trail riding. I know, it's so random. I used to just go trail riding and just completely go off into like fairyland and just imagine these stories while I was like out alone with my horse. So yeah, that was where Monsters Hide was born from. But really how it all came together was during school, my last year of school, I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could write a novel, and I did, and I really enjoyed it. So when I finished school, I was like, right, this is something I really want to do.
Mm.
So then I started like sort of getting a few ideas, like having a look. I didn't really know what I was going to do for about 6 months with
Yeah.
the story. And then where Monsters Hide started to come to me. And yeah, it was sort of born from there in the last 5 years, drafting, editing, and finally publishing.
Yeah, wow. So the
Mm.
novel or like the book that you started writing when you were in school,
Mm.
that was this story.
No, no. So that was a
Okay.
different one.
Yeah.
That was just to see if I could do it, and I hope that never sees the light of day.
Oh, I
But
disagree.
yeah, yeah, no.
No, I
But
think that's perfect. Like that's the perfect way to
yeah,
go about it because then sometimes it's like you need to test yourself to see if you can do it because if you
exactly.
start going into it and you
Mm,
see that there's so many things that you haven't thought about, then you feel a bit
mm,
frustrated with the storyline that you have going and it might be a really good
mm.
idea, but you haven't like prepared yourself to tackle it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It felt like I knew I was able to write a story then. I knew I was able to write
Yeah.
a 100K book because I'd already done it. I just
Yeah.
need to add more structure, more plot, more like
Yeah.
characters building and
Yeah.
world building. So it was actually just like going, right, I know I
Yeah.
can do this now. Let's do this.
Yeah. And I can't believe you wrote a 100K book just to test yourself.
Well, it was just like a little passion project on the side.
Yeah,
So
no, but that's
yeah.
amazing. It's incredibly impressive. But that just like goes to show that, yep, you were meant to be an author.
Yeah, no, hopefully that's what I think anyway,
Oh,
but we
I
shall see.
know. And I love that you said coastal girly because I love your stories of Western
Oh,
Australia,
thank
like
you.
all the landscapes. It's always so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. No, if I'm not in my office, I'm down at the beach or at my parents'
Yeah.
farm. So,
And then
yeah.
catching lobsters and stuff. And I was like, girl, what are you
Oh,
doing?
yeah. Yeah, no, it helps that my partner's a diver.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
no, spend
because
half my time there.
I'm on Melbourne. We get
Yeah.
sunny days maybe once every 2 months.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
rough.
I would go stir crazy.
Yeah, I do. And that's why I go overseas so often because I'm
Yeah,
like I need
yeah.
to escape this cold weather. It's constantly just so shit, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair
Yeah.
enough.
How would you pitch your book to a new audience?
Ooh, to a new audience, I would say I would pitch it as like When Monsters Hide is a story, a fantasy story set in a world that's very like inspired by Narnia and the
Oh, yeah.
diversity of species, but has the moral question of what is the worst monster? Someone who
Mm.
is a narcissist, manipulative, greedy person,
Mm.
or a physical beast with claws and fangs. Like,
Yeah.
and I want the book to question the story to question the reader's morals.
Yeah.
So that's how I'd pitch it. I'm
Yeah.
probably not too good at pitching it.
No, 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 you did that very well because I got the same impression when I read
Mm,
the blurb of the book before signing up for the arc. Because
mm,
I thought what the books that it reminded me of was a bit of
mm,
Narnia, a bit of Lord of the Rings, a
mm,
little bit of Throne of Glass as well, but it was mainly the concept of what's it called? Like it's always a concept of like why is magic oppressed and humans coming at the
mm.
top and things like that when
Yeah.
felt like more of like this earthly divine thing that goes back to bringing I don't know like natural balance and sustainability, but these
Yeah.
humans, out of greed and corruption
Mm.
and all these other nuances, are always
Mm.
putting these magical based fantasy creatures down. And it's
Yeah.
a vivid reflection of the
Mm.
world at its state at all points, I feel. The older you grow,
Yeah.
the more you see, oh my God, the world is terrible sometimes. Um,
Yeah. No,
and
for sure.
it's incredibly reflected in your story as well as like a million other stories that I've
Mm.
felt like the inspiration carried through with Where Monsters Hide.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that was
Yeah.
sort of the goal behind it.
Yeah.
I find like I'm like, how am I supposed to pitch this when I've like pitched it with 100,000 word book?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what came first for you? Was it the story or was it the characters or was it kind of like intertwined?
It was it would have been the characters because I
Yeah.
what inspired Where Monsters Hide because originally Where Monsters Hide was going to be post-apocalyptic
Oh,
and
interesting.
on
Yeah.
the society and I sort of I'd seen this photo on Pinterest of these two girls in this sort of like dusty barren like ghost town sort of city through a window
Mm.
holding rifles and I was like
Yeah.
that's cool. I want to write
Yeah.
about those girls. And then as I started drafting it, I went, this needs to be a fantasy world for what I want.
Mm.
And I read so much fantasy. So I was like, okay, we're going to pop this into a fantasy novel. So it's definitely the
Mm.
characters and then figuring out what caused them to be in that situation.
Mm.
And so then I sort of had my main character, Danica, and I was like, what has the world come to for you to be in this situation and what are you fighting for? So it's kind of a little bit the
Right.
character, but a little bit once I had the character, I sort of built the world
Yeah.
and then added all the other characters in, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that does because sometimes, and you probably have noticed, I read a lot of dark romance books,
Yeah.
and what I've noticed with those kind of books specifically is that the character's personality is so important and integral to the
Mm.
story. And it feels like the personality always was what the story was going to be about. So we've shaped the world around it to
Yeah.
bring
Mm.
about that personality more easily across because it's all about
Mm.
the healing, it's all about the pain, the loss, the
Yeah.
suffering. It's all
Mm.
about that entire redemption arc, the morally great choices you make.
Mm.
So it's like what situation would this character have to be in to be able to,
Yeah.
give justice to all those choices that she makes?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So I think I
because
felt like that, like figuring out how Danica got into this
mm,
position where she was in as in the novel, Eagles Canyon, this barren sort
yeah,
of desert home, and what had caused her to be there, and then what had caused her to have the personality that she does.
yeah,
Um, so it was, yeah, definitely like, yeah, character, world, and then the
yeah,
rest of the characters.
yeah. It was like
Story.
inspiration from Pinterest, character, world, the
Mm.
rest of it. Absolutely.
Literally.
And
Yeah.
who would you say your like main important characters of the story are so far, and what are their personalities sort of like?
So Danica's obviously the FMC.
Yeah,
I would say she's a very hard character. She's very standoffish, very
yeah,
black and white, but she also tries to do the right thing all the time. And
mm,
she's not very confident in herself, but she's confident in her abilities.
yeah,
And like going forward in the novel, she's can only sort of focus on one task at a hand,
yeah,
one task at a moment.
yeah,
Um, as the whole for her thinking about her responsibilities as what her title is. I don't want to spoil too much either.
no, no, that's of
So I'm
course,
like I'm
yeah.
trying to put it
Without spoilers, of course.
yeah, yeah. So
But yeah,
like
like her role and responsibilities, because they keep
yeah.
changing and shifting throughout the story.
Yeah, and more so as her confidence in
Yeah,
herself grows and she allows herself to think beyond survival.
yeah,
Um, so I would say, yeah, she's a very hard character, but that's because of how she's been raised.
yeah,
But she always tries to do the right thing. Whereas
yeah,
on the flip side, there's the other point of view, the
mm,
male main character,
yeah,
Hunter, and he's had a completely different upbringing to Danica.
yeah,
Um, raised in the city, had everyone on his beck and call, life of luxuries, and sort of
mm,
being given everything on a silver plate. So he's got this mindset that if he wants it, he can have it.
yeah,
And so it's very narcissistic. And going from there, it's as he's very, say, ignorant to what is actually happening in the
yeah,
world.
Agreed.
And yeah, and but whereas he doesn't really care enough to learn, he all
Yeah.
he cares about is himself and the world revolves
Yeah.
around him. So he's only going to do enough research to advantage him.
Yeah.
And so he would be he's such an interesting character because like I want to like
Yeah, I
at the same
know.
time like I find his personality like really makes me curious about how he has the blinkers on all the time.
Yeah.
And writing that was really hard because then Danica's very she knows what's happening. She's
Yeah.
knows the horrors of the world. So I feel like I'm going on a little bit of a
No, no,
tangent.
no, not at all. This is interesting
um
because it's sparking a lot of like questions in my mind and building
yeah.
curiosity. But yes, go
Yeah.
on.
So I feel like he's sort of to describe his character, I would say he's very ignorant, very narcissistic,
Yeah.
and very has a more power than he should.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know how to actually defend himself or look after
Mm.
himself, even though
Yeah.
every choice he makes is for himself. So like the
Yeah.
reason I called him Hunter is because he's never actually shed blood.
Yeah. Oh,
So
wow. Okay, that's really
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I gave him this name that was like symbolic of someone who is strong, who can go out there and survive,
Yeah.
whereas he's the complete opposite.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And you're
Yeah.
so right
Mm.
because when I was reading it, I was like, this character is so unique because I actually want to just like strangle him. He
Yeah,
was so
literally.
frustratingly annoying because I was
Yeah.
like, how are you not like grasping anything going on around you?
Yeah.
Like he was so just
Mm.
hell bent on like, this is the path and this is the only path I'm gonna follow.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna sway me
Mm.
otherwise. And I was like,
Mm.
but you can see, like it's not like you couldn't see the
Mm.
oppression or like what could possibly be going on, but he
Yeah.
was like, nope, I don't need to know. I don't want to know. Don't care.
Yeah.
Move on.
And
And that
I
would be
feel
really
like
hard to write.
like he was such a frustrating character to write, but I wanted him to like as you can imagine, there's a lot of people in the world who just put the blinkers on and
Yeah.
live the life that they want and they see.
Yeah.
Don't open that to anything else. Don't let anything else in. And I wanted to write that in a way that, because it, like being in a fantasy world, it's not like he can just lock himself in his room and just pretend life outside doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's really hard. So I had to have these, I had to give him these, oh, what's the word? These goals, not really goals, but like he wants to be the
Like
command.
missions almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he wants to be the commander, but and move into Melissa's position.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he doesn't work for it.
Yeah.
And all we can see, like to him, it's just A plus B equals I'm commander.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas to Danica, it's like, bro, look at the
Yeah.
world.
Like literally.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how much of yourself do you see in the characters, or maybe Danica, or are they really foreign from your own personality?
I feel like I don't know, it's hard because I feel like I'm a little bit like Danica in the sense that I'm a little bit introverted. I can be impulsive and I can be really stubborn.
Yeah.
So I feel like those are some traits that came out from me into Danica.
Yeah.
Whereas Hunter was like writing Hunter, I felt like he was everything that just pissed me off.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, I'm just
Fair.
gonna put this all in into one character.
Yeah.
But it was also like therapeutic to write
Mm.
because I feel like most of the time these characters, well, these people in real life that have those personality traits always come out on top.
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
was kind of able to knock him back a few pegs.
Yeah. No, you're
So,
right. I get that. And I think that's why like if he did get everything he wanted, it
mm,
would have I mean it would have made for a great villain, but then it wouldn't have like we would have just been rooting against him the whole time because I
yeah,
did find myself rooting for him at many
mm,
times because I just wanted him to understand because it was
yeah,
clear that he was building an attachment and developing
mm,
relationships, but he was so hell bent on just sticking to his course. But
yeah,
yeah.
for sure. And I wanted to write like his relationship with Danica, like on one hand, she's sort of looking after him and he
Yeah.
realizes that. But
Yeah.
at the same time, he doesn't like the power she holds over him.
Yeah.
And he can't work out whether he hates her or desires her or both. And
Yeah.
he's sort of like, I want her, but I want to like reverse the positions,
Yeah.
and have that power over her.
Yeah.
So
But
it's
he
kind
lacks
of
the ability to do so.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And Danica's not the type of character that would allow herself to get
No.
into that position again.
Yeah.
Mm,
And given like in the first book at least,
mm,
there's no like romance sparks or spice sparks. Like there's like hints towards like certain types of desirability and attachment. But given the most selling genre, for example, is
mm,
romantasy and is
mm,
quite spice heavy books, how was the process of like going about writing your book and
mm.
not having those trends influence your writing? Maybe that it's coming up in the next few books, but for the first one at least.
Yeah. So I feel like when I read books, the worst thing, like I love my romance books, I love
Yeah.
my spice,
Yeah.
but I hate it when it's uncalled for and it doesn't
Yes.
feel authentic. So
Yeah.
I'm like, you're just, I can read some books and I just go, you just add in spice for the sake of adding spice, and
Yeah.
then I'll skim read. And
Yeah.
whereas if it feels authentic, then I will read it. And I kind of went, I want, if I add spice into my book, I want it to
Yeah.
be authentic to the characters. So you can kind of tell, I think there would be more spice for Hunter if the story didn't start where it did and you could see
Yes.
more of his life in Rosegard.
Yeah.
Um, However, like for Danica, she's gone through so much trauma, and
Mm.
she's not going to put herself into that vulnerable position,
No. Yeah.
especially where the story is like she's only known the love interest for so long. It's like she's not going
Yeah.
to climb into bed with him. It just didn't feel authentic.
Yeah.
So I kind of went like, I know it doesn't, I'm not going to add spice for the sake of adding spice. And
Mm.
potentially, like, I don't know how Danica's going to grow over the
Yeah.
third book, because I've almost
Yeah.
finished drafting the second one. So I
Yes.
got to kind of go, maybe there'll be something in the third book, but it really depends
Yeah.
on how far Danica is in her healing journey.
Yeah.
Whereas there's other characters coming out in book two, which I'm so excited for everyone to meet.
Oh, I'm
And I have,
excited. Yeah.
yeah, I'm so excited. But I have written a spice scene for one of these characters. But in
Oh,
saying that, my granddad wants to edit the book, so I might delete that.
yeah, fair.
Yeah,
There's a
so I'm like,
character that comes up later in the first book, Kai.
mm,
I love
mm,
him because I'm so interested to know more about him. Um,
mm.
but I just don't trust him right now, so we'll see.
Yeah, I have heard a lot of people say that.
Yeah.
I don't want to confirm or deny anything.
That's fair,
Um,
that's fair. I
but
would like
he's,
to be surprised
mm,
or proven
mm,
right. We'll see.
yeah. But no, he definitely comes back in book two.
Yeah,
So yeah. But like writing the start of their story together,
yeah,
um, I wanted him to be very different to Kai. I mean to
mm.
Hunter.
Hunter, yeah,
Um, and because he doesn't see Danica as someone who has power over him, he sees her as
yeah,
an equal. But yeah, so I wanted to write him as someone who he sees Danica as an equal. He doesn't
yeah,
feel threatened by her in any way as do other
yeah,
characters. And I wanted him to hold space for Danica and what she's going through and her
mm.
healing journey. Um, so it was very much like there's the hints at the romance there, but I'm also like, he does like her a lot.
Yeah,
And but he's not going to push her until she's ready. And he's
yeah,
going to just be waiting there until she's ready to
yeah.
make a move. So we'll see how book two goes.
Yeah, well, we will. But I do
Yeah.
like the point that you made about the spice and the
Mm,
romantasy, the romance elements of it, because I
mm,
agree that there are books that are dedicated to spice and smut, and that's
mm,
fine. But if you're
mm,
introducing and marketing a book as fantasy or romantasy, and then there's
mm.
just spice kind of inserted where it's not helping drive the plot or the relationship of
Yeah.
the characters,
Mm,
it just feels so out of place, and then it
yeah.
just becomes like a very frustrating read. But I do agree
Mm,
because there's a series that you posted on your Instagram a while ago, and
mm.
that's why I messaged you and I was like, I need to hear
Oh
your
yeah.
thoughts about it soon.
Yeah, I have thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm like
That's
halfway
that's
through
that
that
was
one.
the same
Mm,
kind of thought process I had when I was reading that and I was like
yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah. But no, that's very interesting. And I
Mm.
was wondering where the concept of moon children came from because they sound so cute.
Oh, so I wanted something. So when I was creating the narrative, the Moon Children, I wanted something that could be it was really hard because I was looking at all these species and I wanted a
Hmm.
species that was going to be the protectors of the realm. And to do that, they had to be strong.
Yeah.
But I didn't want them to be Fae because most Fae have power and there is Fae in every second fantasy book. And I
Yeah.
didn't want
You
that. So
want
I was like,
something new, different.
yes,
Yes.
exactly. So I was like, right, I'm going to create this species. They're going to be immune to magic, so that doesn't affect them, but they don't have their own magic. So they're just
Yeah.
relying on their senses and their own strength and their bodies.
Yeah.
Um, and in saying that, they are stronger than humankind
Mm.
and all other species, and they have that power in that sense.
Yeah.
And to create them these, like when they shift into their true form, into their killing calm, as Danica calls it, I
Yeah.
wanted them to be the beasts, the
Yeah.
monsters in that sense, because they do have longer claws, like fangs,
Mm.
rah rah rah. So to come up with that, and I was originally thinking, so as the humans call them, they call them night walkers, as that's a bit
Yeah.
more intimidating, or pale eyes, and it sort
Yeah.
of puts a bit of a more of a what's the word like adds a bit more intimidation to what they
Mm.
are. Whereas then the creatures that know what they are and
Mm.
trust them and understand that they're the protectors, they call them moon children
Yeah.
because they know they live by the moon and they look after the world. So it's
Yeah.
kind of, and whereas their real name is Narakuya,
Yeah.
but it's just as these species, different species have different names for them depending on the
Yeah.
relationship with them. So it was very like creating these characters. The name came from, I don't really know, to be honest. I just kind of went, that's cool. I want Nightwalkers. They
Yeah.
are really cool. And then I was like, but Nightwalker sounds scary. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to come across one on the street.
I agree.
Whereas
Yeah.
if I change it to Moon Children, then that sounds a lot more like you're more likely to
Approachable.
trust them
Mm.
and approach them. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll add both those names and create a real name for the species. But then as the creatures, as you discover the different creatures and species in the world,
Yeah.
you can understand their relationship with the Narakuya by what they call them and what they refer
Mm.
to them as. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting. And
Mm.
when you go about like the practicality of writing a
Mm.
10,000 word book, no, 100,000 word
Yeah.
book, 10,000 is nothing. Um, what does that process look like for you? Because clearly you've done it twice now, and on your third one now. So
Yeah.
yeah, how does that look
Mm.
for you? Are you a prancer or are you someone who goes by
Mm.
skeletons? And how does it go from here to on the page?
So I feel like Victoria Aveyard explained this the best way. I'm
Yeah,
a tomato bush.
tomato
So
bush. Okay.
yeah, so I plant like the little stalk thing and then let the tomato bush grow up and around it
Ah,
and
okay.
expand out from there. So I've got like I don't know what they call it, the little stake that the story will be
Yeah,
the direction of the story and
yeah,
then let it just like kind of grow up like that.
yeah.
Um, so I like to call it the tomato plant bush theory.
I love that.
So I feel like, but whereas when I'm drafting, I feel like I haven't had a proper like drafting session
Yeah,
until just after finishing Where Monsters Hide.
yeah,
Because when I drafted Where Monsters Hide, that was 5 years ago. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
sort of just took my time, did my thing.
yeah,
It was before I got Bookstagram, so I
yeah,
had like the time of luxury. Whereas, and then as soon as I sent that off to edits, I started drafting book two. So
yeah,
book two's been getting drafted for the last couple of years as well.
yeah,
Whereas it was only until I published Where Monsters Hide that I was able to go, right, I need to lock in and finish
yeah,
drafting book two. And then of course, life is quite busy at the moment.
yep.
So it's more, I set my goals, but then, and I like setting goals and not deadlines because
Mm,
deadlines, like, they make me really anxious. I'm
yeah,
like, I can't work if I've got a deadline.
yeah,
Whereas if I set a goal, it can be a bit more flexible.
yeah,
So I just set my 5K goal, 5K words goal a week. If I
mm,
do it, great. If I don't, I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself.
yeah,
And then also taking the time to realize when I need time away from it.
yeah,
So for example, just after, so when Monsters High was published in October, November, drafting. I got to
mm,
December and I got to this scene in book two,
yeah,
and I thought I got writers burnout
yeah.
from
Writer's
like
block. Yeah,
publishing book one and whatnot. But then,
Yeah.
and I sort of sat on it for all of December, and then something clicked in my mind with how I wanted the plot to proceed. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it wasn't burnout, it was writer's block. So
Yeah.
yeah. So then
That's
once I
interesting.
figured that out,
Yeah.
I was able to keep going. So I think like that was a really good what's the word, like not wake up call, but I was able to identify,
Yeah.
realize that it wasn't burnout, it was writer's block.
Yeah.
And then hopefully in the future I'll be able to notice a difference moving
Yeah.
forward.
It comes with
Um,
experience, doesn't it? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So, and obviously now I feel like I haven't done anything. I haven't been consistent at all.
Yeah.
Just with everything happening at like in life at the moment. But as soon as March is over, I'll be straight back into drafting. I've got my plan. I want to get it finished drafting by the end of
Yeah.
April, and then hopefully send it off for its first round of edits.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking as soon as that goes off for edits, I'm starting the draft of number three,
Yeah.
um, and just get smash out as much as I can while book two's away. So then I
Mm.
can keep the story flowing and keep it
Yeah.
all happening. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
and it
hope
keeps
that
your
answered the
mind
question.
busy as well, because then you're
Exactly.
not taking a massive break from the story. And I feel like authors would
Mm.
struggle with that anyway, because
Mm.
you'd be so eager to just like keep writing and keep writing and keep writing, but knowing like
Yeah.
when to take breaks and knowing when you have a writer's block or have a writer's
Mm.
burnout and just figuring those steps out along the way is like a journey. But I do
Yes, for
agree
sure.
that even from like speaking with other authors, the second book is usually the hardest one to
Mm.
write, mainly because you publish the first one, it's
Mm.
out, and then the time pressure starts because there's
Mm.
expectations and demands that have gone up. And the
Mm.
second book isn't the resolve of the series, it's the middle part of the series. So you still want to keep it engaging enough to engage an audience and keep your audience like interested in the story because the resolve
Yeah.
will happen in the third book. Um, and that's why the third book is slightly more easier than the second book to write because
Mm.
you're like coming to a conclusion. So I think you're going to have so many different experiences in this
Mm.
trilogy, and it's just going to be a
I,
journey, but it will be good.
I feel like though the Moon Children trilogy, how it's evolving, like book two's been my favorite so far.
Wow,
And
okay,
I'm
that's amazing.
absolutely frothing it. Like, and I
Oh
think
my
it helped
gosh.
because when I published Where Monsters Hide, I was already 60,000 words into book two.
Oh yeah.
So and how because I feel like book one, Where Monsters Hide, it's very the world is quite small still. It's very
Yeah.
manageable. It sort of wraps it up in a nice bow. You get an
Yeah.
introduction to the characters, the species, the conflict, rah
Mm.
rah rah. Whereas then book two and three kind of go like that.
Yeah.
And there's more characters added. You're exploring more of the world. It's a lot bigger. So I
Yeah.
feel like book one was just the nice little introduction all wrapped up in a bow. If
Yeah.
you wanted to continue reading the series, thank you. I appreciate it. If not, then it hasn't got a cliffhanger. You can put it down and go, yep, that was a
Oh,
like all
okay.
right book.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't need to read the rest. So I kind of wanted it to be. I didn't want to finish book one on a cliffhanger in case people didn't necessarily enjoy it,
Yeah.
but then felt the need to have the resolution. So they can have their resolution,
Right. Yeah.
but then if they wish to proceed reading,
Yeah.
the world just goes like that. So
I
yeah, it's
like
like
that idea a lot because
mm,
to me, that signifies that you're not driven by the profit
mm,
of like the book. You're driven by like the actual correct audience liking and enjoying the story
yeah,
for what it is. And I think
yeah.
that's a
Mm.
huge testament to like your morals, the way it's
Oh,
going about the story and pub. No, but
thank
it's true
you.
because there's so many series that I read by massive publishing
Mm,
agents, and sometimes the authors don't even agree with how they're
mm,
being like kind of caveated into writing in a certain way that it sells.
mm.
And it would be a really annoying process because you have a story which is maybe just 3 books long, but you're forced
Yeah,
to pump out 6. And you just like
yeah,
it just goes all array and it's just because of the demands of running a profit, right? But I
yeah.
think that's like the beauty of like indie publishing that you do have those
Oh, for
controls
sure.
over
And
how you want to develop and display your story.
yeah, and for sure. And I feel like also because being an author isn't my full-time job yet, one day
Yeah.
hopefully, I have got that luxury of going, this is what I want my book to actually be. This is
Yeah.
how I want to present my stories to the
Yeah.
world. Like, I don't have to. like give in to those demands of making a profit, making a profit, making a profit,
Yeah.
because I can support myself elsewhere. How?
Yeah.
And so then I can give those stories what is actually needed for the world, what like give them a good story and go, if this book is for you, amazing, love that for you. If it's not, then thank you for giving book one a chance.
Yeah.
But you don't have to continue reading because that has a nice
Yeah.
little resolution.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to like hook everyone in and then people go, ugh, I have to read book two now just to figure out what
Yeah.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Mm.
that's a really good thought process, and it's very unique to
Mm.
think that way. But I'll also say, like, obviously having a publishing agent and everything is like there's
Mm.
so much benefits to it as well.
Yeah.
And that if that's the way some authors go and it works out, and then
Mm.
indie publishing is growing so much more in the
Oh
last
yeah.
like 10,
Mm.
15 years. So I love that there's an audience for both sides because I think that
Mm.
you kind of get like a more variety of stories now, rather than
Oh, for
like
sure.
I feel like in the last 6, 7 years ago, there was just like an influx of the same thing in
Mm.
different fonts. And
Yeah,
I think
literally.
it like rem put some people off reading, maybe it brought a
Mm.
new audience in. But
Mm.
now I think with a bit of like different types of publishings coming together, it's so
Yeah.
interesting to read
Mm.
different things because this book was a very unique voice, in my
Mm.
opinion, because
Oh,
it
thank
was,
you.
yeah, it was absolutely because it was driven by elements and inspirations
Mm.
of like classic childhood movies and TV shows and
Mm.
books that you've like kind of grown up with, but it
Yeah.
had its own flavor and the characters are
Mm.
like nothing else. Like Hunter, for
Mm.
example, I've never seen that character before. In real people,
Yeah.
yes, never in
Yeah.
books.
Yeah, literally. And I wanted to write this character
Yeah.
that, like, someone left me a review and said, oh, I'm not too sure about Hunter. He was really frustrating me. I'm like, good. That
Good.
was the
That's the
goal.
feeling I
Yeah.
wanted you to have.
Yeah, exactly.
I
I'm like,
agree.
yeah, I'm like, oh, achieve my goal.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, so I wanted characters that not everyone was going to like. And if you didn't like
Yeah.
them, like if it floats your boat, go for it.
Yeah.
Whereas I wanted characters that felt authentic and had their trauma that I'm probably not the best. Like I feel like as a writer, I'm still growing with how to write that trauma well. So I'm just trying my
Yeah.
best in that sense.
I was actually going to make a comment saying that the more emotionally intense scenes that this book had was so well done because I genuinely
Oh,
felt
thank
connected. And I
you.
think the trick behind doing so is setting up the characters
Mm,
and the relationships between these characters so strongly that you feel connected and you feel protective of them. And then you
yeah.
go about with an emotionally intense scene, and then you're just like, as a reader, not able to grapple
Mm,
with that fact.
yeah. Yeah. I feel like writing those scenes. Writing the scene in particular, which I
Yeah.
assume you're talking about,
Yeah.
I procrastinated that so much. And even
Really? Oh
every
my
time,
gosh.
yeah, even every time I was editing it, I was just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But I also felt like it needed that scene, like
Yeah.
for the characters and for Danica to let go of who she was
Yeah. For both characters.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean,
Because it sparked something in Hunter as well.
yeah, it made him realize, put a bit of a take the rose tinted glasses off for him when he saw that scene. He went,
Yeah.
wait a minute, my mother isn't who she says she is,
Yeah.
and made him just question that enough to go, I'm no longer rooting for Rosegard, I'm just rooting for myself. And
Yeah.
before it was like disguised, he said he was rooting for Rosegard, but it was disguised as he was actually rooting for himself. But he
Yeah.
was like saying Rose Guard to make himself feel better, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas then he went, oh, she's not great. They're scary as fuck. So he went in that sort of position. He went, I don't know what to do now. I don't
Yeah.
know. So she's gone and done something that
Yeah.
she said she wouldn't. So far, they've said everything they've said they're going to do has been true, and they haven't lied about anything, haven't
Yeah.
betrayed anything. So he's noticed that their moral compass is a bit more straight.
Yeah.
And in that sense, so he's gone, okay, I know that if I go over there
Mm.
and I say something to protect myself, they will look after me.
Yeah.
And then once he realized what Danica's plan was for Rose Guard, he went, actually, no, this is my city and I want that power. So then
Yeah.
he's gone back there and gone, actually, I think I've got an idea for how we can like
Yeah.
wham bam, thank you, ma'am, good night, Danica.
Yeah.
So but then obviously that doesn't work because
Yeah.
he hasn't got the full like he goes, oh, an ambush, great idea, but he hasn't realized what she is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, I love that.
yeah. Yeah, I hope
Um,
that makes sense.
it does. I mean, I've read it, so obviously, but I think this is like a great way to like build intrigue with new readers that a new
Mm.
audience people that haven't read this book because I just think everyone should give it a chance because it was
Thank
genuinely
you.
phenomenal. And I'm so biased
Thank
with
you.
Aussie authors anyway, so that might
Yeah,
play into it. Like I'm
same.
like because come on, like it's always like Americans or British
Oh,
authors I see. I'm
yeah.
like, no, let's get the Aussie authors up there. We've got like really good
Yeah.
stories to tell.
Literally, it's like
Yeah.
as soon as there's an Aussie author, I'm like, yes, queen. Like,
Exactly.
go
I'm
get
like,
it.
I'll read that. Give me everything you
Yeah.
can. Send me the
Yeah.
links.
Take my money.
Yep, literally. And it's always indie
Yeah.
authors as well. I'm like, take it. It's all yours. It's fine.
Literally. Yeah,
Um,
literally.
and with your book, I've got it here. How
Oh,
beautiful. What was the cover designing process like? Because I didn't understand what the cover was before. I mean, obviously after I
mm,
read the book, that was fine. But because
mm,
we're monsters hide and you see like a sword with a tree
mm.
and it kind of gives you like this idea of like, the tree of life and it kind of like grows both
Yeah, okay.
ends and it connects two things.
Yeah.
So that's what I was wondering. But would you like to describe that?
That's like I've never even thought of it as the tree of life before. That's a really good comment.
Interesting.
So yeah, so my sister did the cover design. She's a very talented artist.
Wow. Yeah.
She needs to
That's
take the
beautiful.
profession more seriously because she kind of was just like, yeah, sure, I'll do it for you. I'm like, so I kind of like
Yeah.
had a couple of ideas, and one of
Yeah.
them was the sword with the oak tree.
Yeah.
Um, and I wanted the oak tree to represent like Danica's home, where
Yeah.
because at the end of the book, the whole time she's just trying to get home.
Yeah.
And the oak tree has a lot of symbolism to her people and where
Mm.
and her kingdom. And then the sword is for all the battles she faces,
Yeah.
and the strength she has. And
Mhm.
then, so like my sister Anna just did it so incredibly. I was like, this is
Yeah.
chef's kiss.
Yeah. Was
Um,
that like the first draft kind of thing or?
yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, that's a
I
beautiful
know.
cover.
Oh, she did amazing. I did the two banners on the
Yeah.
side,
Oh
and I
yeah.
just pulled in a couple of elements that kind of
Yeah.
added to the story. So you can see
The
the
little
shield with like
these
the
ones.
rose.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you just need a little something else on the side.
Yeah. But it
But
fits
then
beautifully.
thank you.
Yeah.
And then my sister also did like the chapter heading designs.
Yeah.
So she's like halfway through doing the cover design for book two, and I'm like, oh, this is
Oh,
so cool.
that's so exciting.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
it's very much like gave her full reign and just said, this
Yeah.
is my idea. Like, can you work with this? And she sort of read the first
Yeah.
half or first third of the book. So she kind of had a bit of an idea, which was amazing because then she
Yeah.
just like went and did
Yeah.
that. I was like, wow, that's amazing.
How did you
So,
guys celebrate when the book was published?
oh, so I just moved up to a new house. So I was just unpacking boxes all day.
Oh my God, no! You've got to
Yeah,
like give yourself like
I
a
know.
celebratory moment. Go out for dinner or drinks
Yeah,
or ride a
yeah,
horse or something. I don't know what
yeah.
you Western Australians do down there,
Yeah,
but
yeah. But no, we just moved to our new home and I was my partner was working, so and I hadn't yet got a new job up here, up
yeah.
where I'm living now. So he was kinda at work all day and then came home with some flowers and chockies, which was really
Oh, how
sweet. And
sweet.
we
Yeah.
yeah, we just kinda had like a nice dinner at home. But it was such an interesting feeling because on one hand I'm just like my day to day is just a normal average day, like
Yeah.
just putting boxes away, unpacking the house, and then like Instagram, the hype I received was phenomenal.
Oh,
And like I
I
was
love
so
that.
grateful. But then like my phone was blowing up, so it felt
Yeah.
so exciting in
You
like
were
the
like, you
social
made
media.
it, but like you're not able to digest it because you're
Yeah,
unpacking boxes right now.
literally. Like I didn't even had I had to wait for because this is a rental. I had to wait for approval for like 4 weeks
Yeah.
to be able to screw my bookshelves in. So like all my
Yeah.
books were in boxes. So I was like, oh, this is like my
Oh,
office was just full of boxes all stacked up. So it was
yeah.
very like it was such a weird feeling because yeah, one side of the coin is like just
Yeah.
usual day to day life. The other side, social media side was like ah.
Yeah.
So it was
And
really cool though.
looking back now, like, what do you reckon was things that you stressed out about, which you didn't need to stress out about, or
Mm.
things that you found were difficult or weren't difficult, just reflections.
I think overall, like looking at the publishing journey, self-publishing journey, I was it seems really intimidating because there's a lot to learn.
Yeah,
Formatting, the publishing, like lining up dates, getting everything
yeah,
organized, the cover, like the covers and everything was quite difficult to get the
mm,
sizing right. And even just the little things like making sure the spine is centered
yeah,
and the blurbs, like the blurb is centered because um how it's done is just like you have the blurb,
yeah,
spine, and cover all as one document.
yeah,
Um, so that was quite difficult, but overall, I felt like I'm the type of person that I'm very tight-lipped about it
yeah,
until I've, I'm like ready to pull the trigger on everything.
yeah,
So I didn't want to accidentally reveal anything until I was ready.
yeah,
So like trying to upload to Goodreads and then like press publish on the Kindle Unlimited, and uploading to Ingram Spark, like I was like, this needs to like all be revealed at the exact same time. I don't want
yeah,
anything coming out before.
yeah,
So I was quite like that was really nerve-wracking doing that. Um, and I think so it actually came out on like the cover reveal came out on Goodreads like 2 days before I actually did the cover reveal, but I just didn't say
yeah,
anything. And I was like, that was why I sort of didn't release the title of the book either,
mm,
until I was ready to go. And I'm definitely doing that with book two as well. I'm not going to say anything until I'm ready to pull the trigger because I don't want to
yeah,
lock in dates or anything and
yeah,
then go, oh shit, I can't like meet these deadlines.
yeah,
So sort of very much like when I pulled the trigger on the launch for When
yeah,
Monsters Hide, I'd finished all the drafts, I'd finished all the edits, the cover design was ready. Literally all I need to press was publish, and I went, okay, now I'll do my 8 week social media launch and
yeah,
arcs and whatnot. So that was quite difficult trying to juggle all that on one hand, whereas when you actually write down the steps to self-publishing, it's like tick, 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 tick. It's
yeah,
actually quite easy. But just trying to figure out those steps first time round was
yeah.
quite difficult.
But I think it's
Mm.
time for you to like start attending all those like author events and whatnot
Oh,
because well you've got
thank
one
you.
book down and I feel like when
Mm.
you do those events like you learn so much because
Oh, for
you're kind of
sure.
like with other authors as well, right? Like
Yeah.
you find those
Mm.
group of people that are in the same boat as you. And I would
Yeah.
love to see you at events. Like that would
Thank
be
you.
so, so, so
Yeah.
exciting.
No, I'd love to meet in person.
Yeah, it would be so cool.
It would be really cool.
Yeah.
But I felt like just a shout out to all the like authors, self-published authors on Instagram that are just more than happy to just like give you all their knowledge. And like
Yeah.
I just it was really intimidating starting off because I felt so nervous reaching out to people because I didn't know
Mm.
like what the vibe was. Like, do we
Yeah.
gatekeep this stuff? Are we just free of information? So it's kind of like, hi, like
Yeah.
do you have any tips, advice?
Right.
But then
Yeah.
like once I found like I got like a circle of author friends and they're just like they're amazing and they
Yeah.
just give you like any question you ask, they'll give you their best answer. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys so much. You're amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love
But
that because
yeah.
you also share in your newsletter as well as like your stories and stuff, the new podcast that you listen to. And I remember
Yeah.
I think you mentioned Brandon Sanderson's podcast and Victoria
Yeah.
Aveyard's podcast. And I think that's a really good source to share as well
Mm.
as like listen to,
Oh,
of course,
sure.
because that's where you are going to get your information. Like you can go online and go on like
Mm.
Wiki 10 steps and stuff. That's
Yeah,
not got the same well, it's just not going to translate to how the process actually
exactly.
goes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like so Victoria Aveyard. She's the author of Red Queen Realm
Yeah.
Breaker with her newest adult book, Tempest, about to come out.
Mm.
She had these old IGTV videos back when Instagram was doing that.
I don't even
So
know
this
what
would have
that
been
is.
like, oh, this would have been like 5 years ago or
Oh,
something.
okay.
And she'd just go live and answer all these publishing questions. So I remember
Oh,
she did
okay.
like a story structure with the arc and sequences and acts and whatnot. And then she
Mm.
also did like day in the life of a writer
Yeah.
and like how the
Miss
she's
Little Trendsetter over there.
literally, but she's trad published. But
Yeah.
she was explaining all that and just those videos. I learned more from that than I have from Googling anything. It was just
Yeah.
like this wealth of knowledge. And then I felt like when I was publishing Where Monsters Hide, I was turning to YouTube, like just
Yeah.
YouTubing how to do stuff, how to add like the numbers at the bottom of the
Yeah.
page and stuff. But like, um, I felt like I do feel like there's a lot of a little. I don't want to say this in the way that it may come off the wrong way, but I feel like
We'll
I don't
restructure
feel
it.
like it's yeah, I don't feel like it's people gatekeep it, but it's also not like free knowledge, just the
Mm,
publishing journey. And that's something I want people to be able to come to my account and be like, pop a question on one of my posts and be like, hey, how do I do like the
yeah.
chapter art? I'm like, "Doo-doo-doo. This is
Yeah.
how. And I don't want to gatekeep anything. I want it to be
Yeah.
free information, like, because the more stories in the world, the better.
Yeah.
And I think people having that, not like necessarily support, but having that accessibility
Yeah.
to people who are more than happy to share
Yeah.
information encourages their own journeys and makes the
Yeah.
whole process seem less intimidating as a whole. Because
Mm,
when I started, I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, I was going to try writing this book,
yeah.
and like had a family friend who was a freelance editor, so I was like, hey, can you edit this for me?
Yeah.
And then after that, I was like, oh, so where do I go now? And she's like, oh, I think you just Google like publishers and agents. So it was very much just like,
Yeah.
yeah, there was no information, especially
That's
back
really
then.
tough. Yeah. But I like that you've
Yeah.
considered those things and like you're
Mm.
kind of like bringing your account to space that can
Mm.
allow for those questions because I agree like more stories the better in the
Mm.
world.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of courses and diplomas and other thing that
Oh,
are
sure.
so bloody expensive that give this
And you don't
exact
learn
information.
anything.
Yeah.
Or
Literally
like
like
you can do a creative writing degree and they focus on short stories. I'm like,
yeah.
I want to
I
write
know
longer
because I
stories.
got I
Mm.
keep getting messages from
Mm.
publishing agents who are like, "Oh, do you want to be an editor? We really like the reviews
Yeah.
you write, blah blah blah." I was like, "Great, sign me up." And then they're like, "Yep,
Yeah.
it's just a $5,000 entry fee." And I was like, sign me
Never
off."
mind. Yeah.
No, thank you. I can just edit
Yeah.
it as a beta reader
Mm.
or an ARC reader as well. That's fine. I'm not doing this for
Yeah.
like money. So I don't need that. Because once you
Yeah.
pay $5,000, of course you have to drive it based on profits because you need to make up the
Yeah.
money.
Exactly. Exactly. And I
Yeah.
feel like as well, like when it comes to the bookish community, there are like two halves to it. I feel like there's like you and me and this younger generation that are coming through and sort of leading the way in this self-publishing and
Yeah.
sharing information. And then there's this older generation. Because when I like for WA, for example, I Googled writing groups and
Yeah.
it's all people who are in historical fiction, all like
Yeah.
contemporary fiction, not
Yeah.
very much I don't want to sound bad saying this,
No, no,
but
no,
a
I
much
get it
older
because
demographic.
I feel like it goes by the
Mm.
value of those books, right? Like those books were
Yeah.
considered more like they had a higher value, call it like
Yeah.
intellectually or
Mm.
whatever. But
Mm.
there's like a surge of new kind of books and
Mm.
stories coming out, and it triggers like different parts of your brain. Like I absolutely
Literally.
hate the kind of like connotation that, for example, spicy books
Mm.
or smart books have that like, oh, it's just like girls who just don't want to like,
Yeah.
use their
Fairy
brain.
porn.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, no, they're probably like doctors and lawyers and whatnot, and they need like an
Yeah.
outlet. That's what it
Yeah.
is. Like, yeah.
Exactly.
So it's just different things,
Mm.
right? Like I can't go into my profession,
Mm.
and
Mm.
I'm working hard, like reading all day. I'm in
Mm.
law as well. Like I
Yeah.
can't be doing all of that and then coming home and reading like Russian literature. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
die.
You want an escape to be able to
Exactly.
go into this world and just disconnect from real life and
Yeah.
reality and follow these stories where they have characters that inspire you and share, like, not sh like, have this knowledge in a way of
Yeah.
being able to explore their journeys.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
and
It's immersive. It's
mm,
beautiful, and it
mm,
is like you know how I always think that like self-help books, for example, like they spell out
mm,
what empathy is. I can
yeah,
infer
literally,
that from a fantasy book. I don't need it spelled
yeah,
out to me. Like
yeah,
you can read whatever you want, but don't judge what
mm,
I read because I'm still getting like
exactly,
a lot of knowledge and learning
mm,
through these stories because like I'm
mm,
fighting war in these books.
yeah,
You
exactly,
can't even match the level of strategy that I could imply
yeah.
when the world goes to
Mm.
shit.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They're survival books.
Literally, like, what do you mean? You don't know how to like start a
Hmm.
fire without anything, and you
Yeah.
don't know how to take care of a wound, and you don't know how
Yeah.
to like save someone else from burning
So
flames and stuff.
basically, we could market fantasy books as survival books, and which could then go into self-help because that's helping in the future.
I agree. This is all preparation for the future. Like,
Exactly.
it's gonna happen. You got to be prepared. Do you want to be on the
Yeah,
side that survives or do you not? And
exactly.
it's no judgment if you don't want to survive. Fair enough. It's pretty hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love
No,
that.
it's funny.
Um, well, to conclude
Mm,
on a fun note, and you've seen my
mm.
videos, so you know what's
Yeah,
coming up.
yeah.
If you had to describe your book as one song, which
Ooh,
song would you pick?
that's a good question. I've got songs for the characters.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've got like an overall song.
Well, it could be anything, but
Hmm.
because the characters sort of make your story, so it would make sense.
Yeah, I feel like I'd say Glitter and Gold by Barnes Corney. That was
Oh,
would have
interesting.
been,
I
yeah,
need
it's a
to
bit
look
of a
that up.
shout.
Yeah.
Um, but I felt like that song was just Danica in the first book. And it was very like there's a lot of grit to it. There's a lot of like grr.
Yeah.
And
Found
but
it.
it's also like the lyrics in it like kind
Right.
of line up with
Yeah.
Danica's character. So I feel like it's not the usual shout, but it felt very like yeah, connected a lot with Danica's character.
Yeah.
Um, whereas I've got a different song for her for book two. I
Oh,
feel like
interesting.
yeah,
Mm.
so I don't do a book playlist. I do
Yeah.
character songs,
Yeah.
and how they grow, their songs grow. So I've
Yeah.
got like these new characters coming out, in book two, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I've got all their songs planned. And when I'm
Yeah.
writing from that perspective, I can put like this type of playlist on, and I feel really connected to the characters. If
Yeah.
that
I
makes
love
sense. So
that. Yeah. And I love that because when I read a book and I finish reading a book and like you obviously come out of the book and you're like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with it.
yeah,
I just want to be in this
yeah,
world. And I love the playlist, like whether that be character or
mm,
book playlist, because then I just listen to it nonstop.
yeah.
And it absolutely screws over my Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year. It's some bizarre ass song that's like been played 150
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, that I
Holy
remember why
shit.
that happened.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I remember
and
that
it's
trauma.
yeah, and then you just kind of like you can like be part of the world for a bit longer in a different
Yeah.
way. I just love
Mm.
that. Like I love how like books now have like playlists and stuff, but
Oh,
I
yes.
understand the pressure that might add to the authors as well because they're like now I have to think about the story and the
I
songs as
feel
well.
like though,
But
I
it'll be
feel like
fun.
when I write, like, so I've got the ideas in the works for series two, three, and four.
Mm,
And I haven't written anything down except for like
yeah,
maybe one prologue. But I've got playlists. And I'm
yeah,
like, I want to write a book to this theme and this
yeah,
vibe. So I listen to these songs and just like something sparks in my mind and I go,
yeah,
right, add that to a new playlist. I'll call that S5 for series five.
yeah,
So I feel like the playlist comes first, then my story, if
yeah,
that makes sense. So
yeah.
whereas like When Monsters Hide was a bit different because I wanted to write the book and I got the inspiration from the photo on Pinterest.
Mm.
It's like for my next series and series following, they're all inspired by music.
I'm so excited. I was gonna ask, like, do you have any plans after this trilogy? So you
No.
clearly do, which is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've got some really good plans. I want to potentially write like a novel, a prequel to the Moon Children trilogy,
Yeah.
and go on what happened between Raven, Melissa,
That would be
Sophie,
really
all
cool.
that,
Yeah.
and just from their perspectives.
Yeah.
But then once I think maybe after that, that world will be finished,
Yeah.
and then I've got an idea for another series, which I'm so excited for. But I'm like, no, I'm gonna finish this series first
Yeah.
before I even like start working on it. So sometimes I just
Yeah.
daydream about it.
No, I think it's one of those things because you're using that part of your brain
mm,
which is like on that creative scale and you're writing constantly and you're building these new
mm,
characters and new themes and whatnot. Like it's like the juices overflow, so you're
yes.
obviously gonna be like
Mm,
taken what's it called pulled into different directions with different stories, different ideas because that
yeah.
part of your brain is just working in overdrive because this is
Yeah.
the advice I give like a lot of teen authors and first-time debut
Mm,
authors that I kind of just connect on Instagram and
mm,
stuff, and they're just like, I have these ideas, I have these ideas, like these million
mm.
drafts, and then I sometimes just like once I build a relationship with them a bit,
Yeah,
I'm always just like,
yeah.
I understand, but you really need to like really
Lock
like
in.
lock in exactly.
Yeah.
Because
Mm,
sometimes what happens is like you're gonna have like these million stories,
mm.
and then you're gonna keep thinking about them, and they're all amazing potential ideas,
Yeah.
but only two or three of them are gonna come into fruition. So you
Mm.
really have to like narrow down and put all your energy into one thing
Yeah.
at some
No, for
point.
sure.
And you can always have like just a running list of ideas on the side
Yeah.
that like
Yeah.
can be explored later.
Yeah, I've got like in my mind, I've got all these like I think two, one definitely formed idea.
Yeah,
Um, and I can't write anything down. I feel like writing it down, I need 100K word novel to write it down.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't put dot points, so it's all in my mind and
yeah,
in the playlist. But I'm like, I know how the arc will go. I know
yeah,
sort of where what direction it'll go. I've got that like stalk for the plant bush to grow up
yeah.
around.
The tomato
Um,
bush. Absolutely.
Exactly. Exactly. Whereas like I feel like with new authors as well, like as you were just saying, so many ideas. The other problem they can have is spending so much time on one idea and
Yeah.
just like not letting it go. Because I'm like, you can spend like I feel like I could continue forever editing where Monsters Hide. But
Mm.
then 10 years later I'd still be working on it and still wouldn't
Yeah.
be perfect.
Oh yeah.
Whereas 10 years later I could be working on another series that's still improving, just with stuff already out, working on new
Yeah.
worlds, working on new characters and ideas.
Yeah.
So I feel like you need to lock in, but you also need to know when to let go.
Yeah.
Mm.
Absolutely. Oh,
Mm.
wise words from Emily Agnew.
I try.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Is there
That's all right.
any last thoughts or notes you want to share for the readers before we head to the fun part of this recording?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think so. Um, yeah, I just hope you've enjoyed all this
Yeah,
information and delving into the world of the Moon Children trilogy.
I love
So,
that.